Welcome to Up to the Minute. It's 24th of September, and most importantly, it's Friday. We made it to Friday. Good to have you with us on the show. I'm Todd Duplantis. We've got your HCC news and information for the next half hour, so make sure you stick around. We got a couple of special guests right now. Dr. Tony Reyes-Sutherland is my co-host. Tony, it's a Friday. It's great outside. Great way to start a weekend.
Absolutely. I'm waiting for this weekend because I want to go out and have fun and not worry about anything.
Okay. Well, we won't worry about a thing, at least for the next half hour, because we got business ahead of us. Hey, by the way, we're back on HCCTV. If you don't catch our live show, which is here every morning at 10 a.m., Mondays through Fridays, you can watch the rebroadcast at noon and 5 p.m. on HCCTV. And as Tony will tell you, you can find us across social media.
That's right. You can also find us on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. Just look for Houston Community College District and you will find us. Go on.
Okay, so there you go. It's in the middle of a drink of water.
I'm sorry. I was like, oh.
That's all right. Okay. We got business to attend to. Tony, stick around because you're going to be interviewing this next guest, a very special guest, one of our students, Shane Cravens. He's formerly from some foster families, and he's got an incredible story we're going to hear about. Shane, good morning to you.
Good morning to you too.
Thanks for being here. We are looking forward to hearing from your story. Very inspirational. And you may have seen him. I believe you were on, was it ABC 13 this past week?
Yes, I was.
All right. So you'll get a chance to see him live on Up to the Minute. All right, Shane, stick around. We're going to be with you in a few minutes. We're going to kick things off. It's Film Friday, and we've got a special guest, Michelle Mower. She's a director and executive producer of a brand new film called The Never List. Welcome to the show, Michelle. How are you?
Great. Thank you for having me on your show today. I'm really excited to be here.
We're excited to have you join us. You came to us very highly recommended from our filmmaking department. You did one of their filmmaking learning series. Tell us about that.
So Jenny Waldo, who teaches at HCC, is a good friend of mine and longtime friend of mine. And she was instrumental in starting this program, which is a film learning series. It's kind of like I would consider, somewhat of an online continuing ed type of thing. And so I've certainly participated in those as a speaker and also as a participant. I consider myself a student of film, forever, and always have new things to learn. So I was really excited when they started those programs, and I look forward to participating in the future as well.
A lot of our students may be envious because you are a full-time director and executive producer. That's not an easy task, especially in the Houston area. How hard was it to do this full-time?
Well, it was many years in the making. I'm from Houston. I grew up in the Houston area, actually down in Lake City, and went to Clear Creek High School, studied filmmaking at University of Houston back when they had we were actually shooting on film back in the day. Yeah. I'm aging myself a little bit here, but had some really incredible mentors, Dr. Hawes, William Hawes, who is unfortunately no longer with us, but he was one of my screenwriting mentors, Professor Coakley, who taught me filmmaking, Casey Kelly, who's also one of my screenwriting mentors. And so I had a really good group of people who sort of helped, nurture me in those early creative years and definitely set me on the path to where I am today. And I'm about to begin production on my sixth movie as a director and seventh as producer. So it's been a pretty crazy journey, but I'm really, very blessed. I've had the support of the Houston film community, for many years, starting with work that I did back in the early 2000s with a local nonprofit called Southwest Alternate Media Project.
Yeah, Swamp.
Swamp. Yeah, back in the day, Swamp. Before social media, really there was very few places where aspiring filmmakers could go to network and to find out, who was in town and who wanted to, collaborate. And so Swamp held monthly, and still do actually hold monthly networking, we call them salons, on the last Tuesday night of every month. And so it was just sort of like the thing to do every month, get together at Swamp Salon and talk film and, start networking and building those alliances so that we could tell our stories, through this medium. And then of course, once social media came along, then a lot of these creatives were able to connect through those channels. So it's been really incredible. I think Houston has a lot of talent. We have just so much talent here that, because we're such a big city, maybe a lot of people don't know about. Because we're so widespread, and it's really hard to to know who's out there and who's doing what. And for me, it's like every day I feel like I'm on social media and I discover someone new out there who's doing something really cool. So, and platforms like this as well are really helping get those creative voices out there and recognized by the larger community. So thank you for that.
Yeah. You mentioned in going to U of H. So I was there sounds like around the same time that you were, went to U of H. I studied under Dr. Hawes as well. Yes. And I think a lot of folks, anyone who got into TV, went through U of H, got to take his classes and certainly learned a lot from him and a lot of the people. I don't think people realize how many people in local media actually went through U of H and studied under Dr. Hawes.
Yeah, Dr. Hawes was my biggest critic and my biggest champion.
Oh, he was a big critic. Yeah, I know. Yeah, we all went through that with him.
He could be brutal.
That was just part of the class. You get up and as one part, he would get you to go stand up in front of the class so he could critique, especially if you're going to be on camera, the way you looked. That was always fun. But no, he was a great mentor. Let me ask you about this. You've got your upcoming production. Tell us about that and where people can see it.
Well, right now it's an indie film. It's called A Sister's Deadly Pledge. And we're shooting it. We begin production next Wednesday in Houston. That'll be a 3-week shoot. I'm really excited I haven't made a film in Houston in quite a while, and I'm really excited to be able to bring a production back here. There's a lot of productions happening in Houston right now. Which is really, wonderful. This is what we've been trying to build and trying to create for so long here in Houston. Right. Seems like that's finally coming to fruition. We just heard that Top Chef is filming in Houston now. There are other reality shows that have been filming, of course, lots of commercials. So there's a lot of work in Houston for those, students who are now at University of Houston and HCC and places like that, who are studying filmmaking and studying the process of the craft of filmmaking. I feel hopefully that there are going to be a lot of jobs in the future for them in Houston where they don't have to leave. And so a big part of my goal has always been to help create a ecosystem, a film ecosystem in Houston where we have a variety types of productions, right? Not just one type or another type. Houston is very much sort of, there's sort of like this dichotomy of people working in the industry in Houston. You either have the super experienced, bigger budget commercials, reality shows, industrials over here that are keeping, a certain group of our industry, employed on a consistent basis, which is phenomenal and very much needed. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have the very low budget, in some cases, no budget, what we call weekend warrior indie filmmakers, right? Yeah. And I came from the weekend warrior indie filmmaker sector and built something that that is a little more commercial than how I started, as did pretty much every other filmmaker working in Hollywood, by the way. Spielberg to Nolan and all of them, they all started out as low budget filmmakers and built careers, right? So where I'm at now is I make movies largely for television, like Lifetime and so forth. And these films are really great, what I call stepping stone films. They're projects where kids coming out of HCC can potentially get their first job on a legitimate project, and get a legitimate credit on their resume so that they can go on and get jobs on bigger productions like TV series larger budgeted feature films and that kind of thing. So I'm really proud that I'm able to do that, and that I've built the type of career where I can bring these kinds of projects to Houston. So I'm creating jobs, and it's it's just been really for me, one of the honors of my life to be able to impact the city of Houston and the film industry in that way.
Well, let me ask you, being a woman behind the camera, I'm sure you have some thoughts there. Was it a difficult road? Does it continue to be difficult? I mean, obviously, you look in Hollywood and you see many more female directors getting big budget films. That's got to be promising. Has the industry changed over the last 20 years from your experience?
It's definitely changed. I came into the industry at a time when those conversations were just beginning to happen. And, back in 2010, I made my first feature film in 2010. And honestly, I was never the type of filmmaker who waited around for other people to give me jobs. I created my own work. I created my own jobs. And as a producer, I would go out and find the buyers. I would find the investors. I would find the people who would support me as a filmmaker, male or female, right? And as long as you have a good story to tell, there are going to be people there to support you, to give you those resources so that you can get those stories told. And we desperately need to do that here in Houston. We need, all the support from not just local investors, but also local business entities and our the government, the local, government. All of them need to work together to provide resources to upcoming filmmakers like myself. As a woman, I never really like I said, I never really felt like I was not being given opportunities because I was creating my own opportunities. But now, as a more experienced filmmaker, I am seeing that a little bit more, because I see that, jobs that I could potentially be considered for are automatically going to male directors, and there are a lot of male directors. In fact, I'm not going to say names, but there are directors who are working on huge budget films right now. My first film was far more successful than their first film, and commercially successful. So, but they were still allowed to go into those rooms and have those meetings to build their career. And I was unfortunately not. So there's definitely that happening. And I still think the industry is trying to work through that. But certainly now, I know, for instance, like Lifetime is very focused on hiring female directors. And there are a lot of other a lot of other networks and studios who are also trying to address that disparity, that gender gap in our industry. So it's a good time to be a female director in the industry, but at the same time, you still have to be able to tell good stories. You still have to be able to do the job.
Let me ask you this, and we've got about a minute left. I wanted to ask you about the Never List and where people may be able to find that. Maybe you can tell us a bit about it and where you can go to see it.
Sure. Yeah. So The Never List is a film that I directed back in 2018. And because of COVID and all of the other, things happening over the last couple of years, was just released theatrically in December. And it was my first film to be released in movie theaters. It was released in over, I think, 120 something theaters across the country, and which was really cool. And now you can see it. It's on most video on demand platforms. Okay. I think it's on Apple TV. It's on Amazon. It's on iTunes. It's on pretty much anywhere you can buy or rent a movie. You can find it. All of the the main VOD platforms. So it's interesting because back when I was at U of H, back in the day, they were talking about video on demand, and back then I
remember
like
that.
So like, wow, this will be like incredible someday when we have video on demand, when people can watch whatever they want, whenever they want. And here I am now, the filmmaker with films that are on video on demand. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they kept telling us, one of these days it's going to go through the phone lines and you're just going to pick up your phone and rent a movie. And we're like, yeah, okay. All right. How do I dial that in?
Right.
How things have changed in 30 years or so. Michelle Mower, she's an executive and director. One of her projects, The Never List, out now. She's working on a new one as well. Thanks for being here on the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. We will talk to you soon, and we'll have information on Michelle in our social media posts. Thanks, Michelle.
Thank y'all.
All right, we're going to move on to Dr. Tony, who has a very special guest with a very inspirational story. Tony, I'll turn it over to you with your guest, Shane Cravens.
Thank you. I have Shane Cravens, and as Todd said, he's a great inspiration to all of us, a model, I think, for all of us. We learned about you when our ABC 13 partner did a story on you, and welcome to the show, Shane. We're so happy to have you here.
It means a lot to be here. I'm just so glad that I had this opportunity to be on the show with you guys.
Well, I understand that, he is an HCC student. He's also a former foster child. I think you went through 19 families. I can't even imagine that. And I just can't. So tell us a little bit about that. I mean, we're going to talk about your experience at HCC and everything, but tell us a little bit about, I think you got into the foster homes around when you were only 2 years old. Tell us a little bit about that.
It was kind of like, as a young age, you don't really remember most or much of it. But it still has an impact on your life no matter what. And it's still, is still a big part of my life, no matter how much you try to run from it. But it was complicated, bouncing from house to house, and you never really adapted to a single place because you expect yourself to move to a whole nother house. But staying strong and just having, that mindset of, I know what I want, I know what I'm chasing, so I have to go get it. That is a constant reminder in my head that you can't let go, So just my thought of, I know that I want to help somebody and I want to help kids who have been in the same position that I have been in is just constantly on my mind, constantly in my head, that I know that the more I help, the better I can feel about myself.
So there's a strength within yourself that it's not so much outside, it's all inside, which is wonderful. Did you have any siblings or anything like that? Do you even know?
I had 2 siblings. I had 2 biological siblings. I have a sister and I have a brother. They were also in the foster care system with me. It was a bounce from house to house. They got placed in the same house in Waco, Texas. And then I was moved from different house to house to house, and they got to stay in one single group home.
Oh, wow. So that, to me, if that had happened to me, I would think, why me? Why me? So, I mean, I just think that you are such an inspiration. Tell me, how old were you when you, what they call age out or whatever?
Well, when you age out is when you turn 18, and when you turn 18, it provides many opportunities, and you can still choose to be in child protection services, which they provide many, many great opportunities. You can join a single program, which is a program that I am in called the Bridge Housing Program, where they will pay your rent for 6 months on end. And the only thing you will need to pay for is your renter's insurance and your utilities, which is something that I took advantage of, and is one of the best decisions that I have ever made.
That's wonderful. I didn't even know they had that program afterward. That's wonderful. Well, I saw a picture of you with a jacket on, and it said, "Be more consistent." And I love that. And I think that it must have been even a challenge and something you must strive for, because you came from an inconsistent background, you might say. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the jacket in general is one of my personal favorite jackets. I got it from my father. Not my biological father, but he's somebody that is one of my mentors that I looked up as a father. He really made me into the amazing person I am today. I used to be a little deviant child, but he was always there. He lifted me up, and that is his logo that he stands by. So being more consistent is something that I live by, because you can't drop any negative energy. But putting that jacket on shows that, okay, I'm an amazing man and I got this. I'm consistent with what I want, consistent with what I need to do. And I can't drop that. I can't let that leave me, because if it leaves me, then I could leave myself.
And so he was your mentor, I assume.
Yes, he was. He was somebody that means so much to me. I still keep in contact with him. He's one of them hardworking, consistent type of guys.
Well, how did you end up at HCC? I'm so glad you did, but how did you get there?
Well, I was in high school. It was quite a while ago that I decided, I'm going to go to college, because at first it was I don't want to go to college. I just want to, I just want to chill. I need a break from just life in general. I need to take a short break from everything. I don't want to go to college. I want to deal with school. But my mentor told me, he said, well, what do you want to do? I said, well, I want to be a psychologist. I want to study psychology. And he told me, he said, well, you can't be a psychologist without a degree. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to go to college, but I'm going to wait till the second semester. I'm not going to go the first semester. I was basically procrastinating my entire way through school. And then
we all have a tendency to do that.
Yeah. I told him, I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to start school. I'm going to do school. And I started school at HCC, and I'm now majoring in psychology. It's complicated, but, with the right mindset, I can do it.
It's wonderful. So psychology, you chose it. What do you see yourself in, so 4 years from now or so? What do you see yourself doing?
Well, 4 years from now, I can see myself, still chasing my dream of what I want to be. Maybe I won't have my doctorate to be a certified psychologist, but, I can still help along the way. I could help. I could go work at residential treatment centers as a direct care staff. I can work still with children. I can, I could just play my part as much as I can till I succeed my goal.
So what was the most interesting or greatest part of your experience at HCC? What did you like about HCC?
I like just the connections that HCC can give. They provide so many great opportunities. And just the professors there are amazing, and they're so supportive, and they help out in so many ways that I didn't think that I would expect, because it was kind of new, it was more like it was just laid on me like, oh, here's all of the support. And, going on through all the different homes that I went through, I didn't get as much, I didn't get a lot of those, a lot of that support. And so when it was laid on me, it was just like, wow, this is different, but it's a good kind of different. And it just means a lot that, I have that much support, and they just understand they understand more than I thought they would. And that just means so much. And it is like the best feeling.
Yeah. Community colleges, and particularly HCC, we strive to make it more of a community of a support system. And yeah, I think that does make a difference. So, okay, well, let's see. Shane, we are so happy to have you here. You are an HCC student, former foster child, but you are the inspiration of all of us. I mean, just what you went through and how you persevered and were consistent is just wonderful. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. It means a lot.
Okay, thank you. Well, Todd, I think we're going to go on to news, right? What do you think?
Yeah, certainly a very inspirational story with Shane. Glad to have him on the show. All right, we got some news and announcements for you this morning. First off, if you don't know, it's Friday and it's gorgeous outside. So whatever you do today, get some time to go outside, spend a little time outside today and this weekend, because they say next week it'll get a little warmer and rainy, but don't worry about that. We got the next few days to go through. Okay, Hispanic Heritage Month is underway, and we've got several events through Student Life that are ongoing throughout this month as we proudly celebrate. Movie nights are happening, safe in-person events at the West Loop in Stafford campus. One of the movies is called Yo Soy Boricua, Porque tú lo sepa. All right.
Yo soy boricua, pa que tú se lo sepa.
Yeah, so
you know what that means?
So you know I'm Puerto Rican. All right. That's happening 6 to 8 p.m. Wednesday, September 29th at the West Loop Room 2002. And then they've got McFarland USA. That's happening 6 to 8 p.m. Wednesday, October 6th. At the Stafford Learning Hub, room 219. And Reggaeton Dance Class, That's learn new reggaeton dance moves along with from the comfort of your couch, along with other students across HCC. It's a virtual event, 6 p.m. Wednesday, October 13th. Put that on your calendar. For all these events and more, you can email them at Student Life. We'll have that email address in the social media post for the show. And we've also got a breast cancer walk coming up, Tony.
Yes, it is called Pink Out Walk. It's HCC Student Life attempt to raise money for the breast cancer. And you can walk a mile. All you have to do is walk a mile, race a mile, run a mile, whatever you want. Anywhere you want, your neighborhood, your park, your trail, whatever, and register so that you can get a free Team Tough cookie shirt. So do that and go to register. You go to hcc.studentlife@hccs.edu.
Okay, Green Thumb Gardening, HCC's Northwest Learning Gardening programs continue with plant propagation. You ever wondered about what does that mean? Well, you can learn more. 10 to 11:30 a.m. Monday, October the 11th. Learn all about plant propagation. We'll have a link for that event in the social media post for the show. And the MBDA subs and sandwiches is happening as well, Tony.
Yes, the HCC's Minority Business Development Association has got another virtual session going on. It's Wednesday, October 20th, 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. And you can register for that, and we'll give you the information for that at the end of the show, too.
All right, Bedichek Orman Auction needs your help. It happens November the 6th. The Bedichek Orman Auction needs donated items. Of course, all the proceeds they raise support professional development opportunities for our faculty. We'll have the information in our social media post for the show. And most importantly, registration is underway. We've got some short semesters that you can still register for, but you have to register now. Make sure you do so if you want to get it done before the end of the year. Go to hccs.edu/now to register all your registration needs. Okay, let's see. I've got a text from the producer. We can add a Monday guest. You got that information?
Oh, a Monday guest. Let me see. I don't remember. I'm not sure who Monday is. I know that we're going to have Hispanic Heritage Month with Armando Garvan Cruces, who is the student coordinator at HCC Southeast.
Yes, and then we'll also have someone talking about Latino music from the 60s and 70s. That should be interesting. Make sure you join us for that. That's on Monday, Music Monday. And later in the week, we'll be joined by someone talking about the Latino Film Festival. All that and more next week on Up to the Minute. Tony will be back. Have a great weekend. We'll see you live Monday morning at 10 a.m.